This podcast was recorded on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Mad About You.
Hey,
love that from you. Today we are talking body counts. It's a very interesting chat. We also have an Ask Mum and Dad about someone who is a bit unsure about their friend's partner. But firstly, we are coming back around to a chat we had 2 weeks ago about the 5-second rule. Now, if you want to listen to what that's about, the link is in the show notes to the episode. But basically, I'll give you a little rundown what it is. We read about an aggression study where they carried out an experiment to see whether or not taking a break from conflict would diffuse the conflict at all. And it came to the conclusion that taking 5 seconds basically helps a lot in terms of resolving a conflict. So Locke and I challenged ourselves to give it a go for 2 weeks. And so our results were, Lachlan.
we're divorced. No, the results were we actually had a pretty good 2 weeks. We didn't really bicker that much. We didn't argue really at all. But we had one, which we were actually just trying to discuss. Obviously, it was a petty nothing because when we were talking about the pod, I was like, what was that argument that we had? And we couldn't even remember it.
Neither of us can remember what it was about.
We did try the 5-second thing, but I think I did it in a bit of a cheeky way.
Yeah,
because I think
you did.
I think Jad had forgotten and she was responding with a little bit of pizzazz in her voice to me.
Oh, I remember what you said.
And I literally just said to her, I said, 5 seconds. And then that kind of annoyed her that I said 5 seconds, to which she then turned away from me and just gave me her back. So I guess it kind of worked because it diffused the situation.
Bed and I rolled to the other, I rolled and turned around so that I wasn't facing him anymore.
Yeah, so I mean, in turn, it worked because it diffused the situation. We actually just stopped talking altogether.
I remember what happened. You suggested that I'd done something for my own personal gain when I was trying to help you.
Oh,
do you remember?
Okay. Yeah.
And I found that offensive.
Okay, yeah. Jadé does this thing whereby, I'll explaining what it is, the personal gain, I'd given Fletcher a bottle and I'd burped him and then I'd put him on my lap sitting upwards, and she obviously wanted me to keep him up for longer. And the way she said that was, she said, do you want to put him on your shoulder or I'll do it? And I took that as you pretty much
That's not what I said.
What'd you say?
I love that you're actually also can we clear this up? After apologizing for doing it, you're now going back and defending that that's what I'm doing.
I'm not defending, I'm
explaining.
You're
saying, no, because
5 seconds.
You're saying, that
was 3.
You're saying...
See, look, she's laughing already.
You're saying that it was for my own personal gain. You've just reiterated that. But the whole point was that I was trying to help you.
I'm explaining the context to them of how we got into the scenario.
No, I know, but you're supposed to say...
Can you guys see how she fires up? We might need a couple of 5 seconds here.
I was offering to help you because you'd been sitting there and burping him and he'd thrown up all over you, and I was like, do you want me to do it? You know, I was trying to step in so you could have a break because I could see that you were getting a bit flustered, and you were like, oh, you're only saying this so that I'd put him on my shoulder. Otherwise,
do I talk like that?
That's how you sound.
All right, our producer's nodding, so it doesn't help. But
you're only saying this so I put him over my shoulder. That's what you do. You just say things so that I do it.
What?
And I was actually offering to help you, and then I was offended that you were suggesting that, and then you went 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I took it in a different way. So your intent might have been there, but it just came across differently to me.
I know, but it wasn't the intention.
Yeah. So, guys.
Anyway, the 5-second rule worked. We should probably do it right now. Do you want to take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, and we're back.
Yeah.
I guess it worked and didn't work because it kind of angered her more, and then she just turned away from me. So I don't know if
I needed
we have
10
enough.
seconds.
I don't know if we have enough evidence yet to tell you whether or not it works, but that was our experience with using it once in the last 2 weeks when we had a disagreement, I would say, not even a fight. So.
I think it was successful. It diffused the situation.
It did diffuse the situation.
There you go.
Feel free to try it, guys. Hi guys. Now, as Jazz said, this week we are talking about body count. Now, I know that's quite...
What's yours?
Or can be... Imagine, like...
What's blushing?
No, I mean, we've never spoken about it.
No,
If you want to do it, we can do it right here and now.
No, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, here we go. All right. So as you can see from Jadé's response, it's obviously quite a controversial topic that, some people are more open and willing to discuss, and some people think it's, more of a private matter. But today we're diving into that, and we'll be speaking about, whether or not it's right or wrong to ask, and, what good can come of it, what bad can come of it. And,
is it necessary information?
Yeah, I mean, I would start by saying most of the time I don't think it is, but I can also see the other side of why people would care. So it's not to say that if you are worried about, not worried, but if you're wanting to know that, I think it's fair to want to know for your own reasons. That's fine. But I also don't think it's a necessity. And I dare say I don't really think much good can come from finding out that information.
See, I would think that that's the majority's opinion. However, I read about a study in America, and 2 in 3 people actually think that the body count of someone they're in a serious relationship with is vital information.
Like vital to the point where if you don't know it, you're not going to continue the relationship.
Vital information, yeah. Like they need to know if they're in a serious relationship with them. 2 in 3.
Seems like quite an insecure country over there, America. What's going on?
But that really, I wonder if our stats would be on par, because we kind of tend to, follow suit with a lot of things in terms of
Cultural moments.
Yeah, Western culture. But I found that really shocking, because what good can possibly come from knowing that information? I feel like it's something that you kind of you might ask if you're a bit younger and you're kind of being a bit nosy.
I definitely reckon I've had that conversation when I was younger with people who, perhaps might not be as confident, or maybe, I don't know, insecure about.
You have had that
numbers.
Conversation.
Yeah, I definitely, I can't remember the exact person, but I can remember having that conversation
They
with
asked
people.
you.
People in the past. Or it might have even been me that asked. I actually can't remember. I just know that the conversation has been had.
Okay.
But that being said, I think as you get older, if you're not, a devout religious person that is saving yourself for marriage, I think most adults sort of have a sexual past, I would say. And so, if you don't want to be judged for yours, I think you probably shouldn't be pointing fingers and judging others.
Well, I think that's the point. I think they want to judge.
Yeah, I don't think it comes from a place of judgment. I think it mainly comes from a place of, I would say, insecurity and I mean maybe hoping that it's not as large as they think. Because I think when you're a dude, and I think there's a big difference between casual, I wouldn't care, and I'm sure a lot of blokes wouldn't, if you're in the past and you're having a casual fling with someone, I don't think you'd care about body count. But whereas if you get into a relationship with someone and you're wanting to, invest in that person, whether it's, time, resources, inviting them to meet your family, proposals, marriage, starting a life together, perhaps the information might be something that, a dude might want to know.
Why just a dude? I think women would find
in this
that
podcast, you speak
information
from the female perspective and I speak from the male.
Yeah, I think you could probably just apply the same kind of.
As in, you're saying that girls really care about a dude's body count? The same
I'm
as
sure that there's plenty of women who care as well. Yes.
Sure.
I think it's coming from both sides.
Okay, but I think I mean, I know this is always quite a controversial take, but I think when it comes to sex, especially casual sex, I think that women are probably more the gatekeepers of it than blokes. As in, for example,
what does that mean?
I think it's far easier for a woman to go out and have casual sex than it is a bloke. Far easier.
Sure.
So I
think
any average woman could go out and sleep with one dude a night if they wanted to, 7 days a week. Whereas if you're just average Joe went out looking for the same thing, it is vastly different, and
yes.
that would be crazy for them to do. Whereas if you said that one of your friends went out and wanted to sleep with a dude every single day for a month, could do it easily,
sure.
Without question. If I said the same thing about one of my mates, could be lucky to get one. So it's women are the gatekeepers of sex in that regard. So
the cookie.
So as in, Yeah, they do. But as in, I think that's why body count, I think perhaps could be a little bit different between men and women or mean something different to men and women, if you think about it like that.
Would it mean something different though? Just because, like, why would it then mean something different?
Well, I guess if, like, it could come into the fact that
like just because
it's not how many people. Yeah, well, it's easier, but also like I guess like wouldn't that mean that like a rejection rate would kind of also mean something? So if for example, if I said to you in the past I've slept with 10 people, but I've had 1,000 people proposition me, would you think that that's low or high?
I don't think it would matter.
No, I'm just asking you. Like, would you think that's low or high based on that?
Sure.
But if you're a dude and you've had 10 propositions and you've slept with all 10 of them, then perhaps that means something different, you know?
No, because 10's 10.
Oh, okay. So it means nothing.
You're not actually doing the act with those thousands of, you know.
But that's not what I'm saying. What if you're dating all 10 of those people? Does that change
That's
it for
weird.
you? So if it's not at different times.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying like over the course of 10 years, you're dating 10 people and you sleep with 10 people. So you don't really have casual sex, but then you've got someone who sleeps with 10 people in a month before they start dating you. Like, doesn't that change? Would that change things? Therefore, you can think about the number.
What you're saying is the time.
Yeah. So as in, let's say I slept with 10 people when I was 18. We met at 25 and I hadn't slept with anyone since.
Sure.
So I'm like re-virginized.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd be concerned probably more that you'd done it all then and just stopped.
Yeah, but isn't that interesting as well? So it's like saying that there can be a number where it's too little or there a time where you go, oh, maybe this guy's not actually that desirable to other women. So,
but I wonder how many people are saying the number to each other and then divulging that information further. Like, oh, yeah, there was 20 last week, lol.
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking the question, would that information matter to you?
Probably.
So if I'd slept with 10 people the week before we met or 10 people over the course of 10 years.
Yeah, that would be off-putting.
But you said before that it's 10 is 10.
I didn't understand your question, to be honest.
Okay, so 10 isn't 10.
Because you were talking about the different, like, sexes and how it can be different for both of them. So I was a bit confused.
Okay, so timing does matter to you?
It would if I found out. But I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't need to know.
Sure. I'm just.
But if I was the kind of person who was finding that information out, and then I then had found out that it was 10 people last week, I'd go, why?
Okay, so it's not only body count for you that would matter; it would be the timing of the of the
probably
partners.
yeah.
I mean,
but then it gets to a point where there's a number that it's just like, I don't care when you did that. That's really high.
Okay, what's that number for you then?
300.
Well, that's quite.
Well, I just remember someone saying that once, and I was like, "That's a lot of people."
Well, was it a guy or a girl?
A guy
that said he'd 300.
Yeah. And do you remember that guy? Oh my God, you might remember this. There was a guy on maths, and there was this build up to this secret that he had, and it eventually came out that he was addicted to sex, I think, and had slept with heaps of people. That was the whole thing.
I do remember that.
Do you remember?
He sat down his partner and he was like, look, I have to tell you.
I've slept with this many people. And it was close to that number, maybe.
Yeah. Weird thing to really want to share with someone. But yeah, I mean, I guess if someone asked you.
Like, that's a lot, right? Like, I would kind of go, oh.
That is astronomical in my opinion. I don't know about you, but.
I think I know more than one person who's hitting those numbers.
What? Dudes or girls?
Dudes.
Only dudes?
I'm sure that there's women that have...
Okay, give me an example. Your most promiscuous friend, what would their number be? Obviously, you don't need to tell
I don't actually know.
Approximate. Guess. From
How
stories
can I
they've
guess?
told you. Well, I mean, like, I would...
300.
Like, my most promiscuous friend, I would probably have an idea. Like, I would say maybe 100?
I think you're wrong. I know who you're talking about.
Oh, what do you think it would be?
It's 3. It's higher. Must be. It's got to be.
Oh, that would get so draining.
I know.
I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but...
No
Okay, so
judgment.
obviously number...
No judgment. No judgment, guys. That's me.
It's okay to feel a way about something.
No, do you do what makes you happy?
Yeah, do you think, guys? Get out there. Does number matter more than person?
What does that mean?
In terms of, well, let's say I meet you in a relationship and I've only slept with one person, but that person's Angelina Jolie.
That's crazy.
Does that matter
I would
more?
feel like that's pretty good.
Does that matter more than just 20 strangers over a course
more
of...
in terms of what though?
Well, I'm saying, so does the person matter more than the number? You know, like, would you feel...
Oh, like if it's Sally, your best mate, or...
Well, like if it's just, I've had casual relationships with random girls, just average,
or just
girls I've met over
like
the
10
years
randoms
at
or 10
uni
intimate relationships.
Yeah, 10 randoms or, the one person. So I've only slept with one person and I've met you at 25, 26, but that person is, an A-list celebrity. Would that mean more to you than
No.
just...
Yeah.
Oh, that
if it's one
care?
person, it's one person. But I would be like, that's pretty cool. But
That would... you would think it was pretty cool. You would like dab me up.
yeah, if
You'd be like, yo, Angelina
you
Jolie,
slept with
man, that's
Angelina
cool.
Jolie, I'd say that's mad. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't see that coming.
So I'd be very impressed.
Oh, okay.
What were you expecting?
Well, I think...
If I slept with Brad Pitt,
Well, that's what I want. That's...
would you
I
be
would.
like, oh? Or would you be like, cool?
I think I'd feel some sort of way about it. I think it would come down to like
Why?
a feeling of inadequacy, I reckon, in a way.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
That surprises
For
me.
sure. Well, I'll give you an example. When we met, right, you were,
What are
I
you
would
about
say...
to say?
No,
on the
I'm not
pod?
going to say, what?
Okay.
Don't worry. You're my wife. I don't want to
Go
throw
on.
shade at you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when we met, you were, I don't know, I would say like you were quite a weekend party girl, like I'd
Yep.
always see you out.
I
You'd
was
always
party
be,
girl.
Yeah. And I wasn't a
Party.
part of that at all. I literally didn't drink, nothing.
You did
That was the opposite of
Feed me Long Island
me.
iced teas
But just it was the opposite of me,
upon
right?
request.
And then when we started chatting and we were just friends at the start, like you would literally tell me stories of like hanging out backstage with Drake and like being on boats with Tiesto or, like these people. And I'd be like, dude, I'm just some
Not
guy
you
that...
dropping my groupie phase on the pod.
No, I didn't know. Well, who cares? Like, but I'm just saying, if you had like, and I don't even know this.
If anyone's wondering, no, it didn't happen. If that's the question that's on everyone's minds.
Okay, but I'm just saying that if you came and told me like, oh yeah, I've slept with one person in the past, but it's Drake, that would have me feeling like, oh, like how am I gonna match up with this?
It doesn't mean Drake's the better in the world.
Yeah, but I'm just saying as a guy,
drizzy.
that's how I would feel. Like. I
Sure. That's
would
really
feel like how
interesting.
am I going to compare to this guy that can fly a first class around the world, take her on yachts, is like this huge mega superstar, and I'm just this
Maybe if we
dude at uni who works and goes to the gym
but
sometimes.
just slept together, like
Yeah, but I'm just telling you how I would feel about it. So I'm saying you wouldn't care about Angelina Jolie, but I would care
but
if
you
you
can do
slept
all
with
those
Leonardo
things
DiCaprio.
too. You just wouldn't want to. You just don't want to. You want to save.
I can do what?
Do all the things you just said.
What, fly you first class around the world and put you on yachts and sing and
We could do
sell-
all of those things
sell-
right now.
Sell
It's
millions
just that
of
that's
albums.
not our choice.
Well,
in
yeah,
life.
we could go into debt if you wanted to.
I'd like
but
to try to buy a house one day. It's impossible in this market. Can I tell you guys? This economy.
I feel like you're trying to get away from this Drake chat. Wait, yeah, but that's my take on it. I would feel very differently. Like
That's
that would mean
I don't
more
know.
to me, I guess, than because I think it's natural to compare yourself to previous partners, which is
I did find it interesting when I found out that Jennifer Aniston, was your celeb crush.
Why'd you find that interesting?
Because I feel like I'm the opposite of her.
What? Beautiful, smart,
Thanks, sweetie. It's very
entertainer.
very kind of you. And then we went to the People's Choice Awards and she was there and I was like, oh God, I'm in
And she
trouble.
looked at me as well, and I was like, "Don't look too long, Jen."
Did she?
No,
You liar.
as if.
But she was there. It was weird. It was like,
Yeah,
fantasy
let's
come
not
to
get
life.
into that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd feel the same way
Do you-
if it was like a famous person that you'd only had.
Yeah, but
slept with them.
But that's kind of proves my point that why it sort of it's different for men and women. Like as in men are going to care about different things and women are going to care about different things. What do you think about if your partner wants to know?
Like want to or has to? Like, as
Like
in,
they want to know. They go, "Hey, I want to know your number." Like, do you have a right to say no, or is it?
if
there,
you
like,
had asked me now,
well, I'm just saying, hypothetically, if someone in a relationship, the
I'd
people
say
that we help,
I don't think that's necessary information. What good is going to come from that conversation?
Sure. But then what if they go like, I just really need to know, like, I don't think I'll be able to progress with this relationship unless you tell me. Like, and they just say, I need to know, like, that's it. Then what do you do?
Tell them, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I think that you should be honest because I think that's the best way
The thing is, I don't know if I'd remember because I think I've blocked a lot of it out, to be honest.
Let's say you give them a ballpark,
Okay.
as in you try to be as honest as you can. I'm saying, I don't know what good can come of that. Like,
No.
it's not ever going to make them feel
It's not going to give you the security,
comfortable, confident.
It's not
like,
going to instill any security in the relationship. Like,
yeah, like whether
like, oh,
it's,
now that I know, great.
whether
Like,
it's 2 or 5
like there's
or 10
probably
or
like
50.
a range of like 2 to 3 numbers maybe that you'd be happy to hear, and then outside of that range, you're going to be disappointed. So, like, what is the point?
Well, I guess they're hoping for that range where they'd be happy.
Yeah, no, I think it's completely unnecessary information. Everyone's got a past. Like, who cares? It's such a weird thing that people converse about, I think.
But then, yeah, I don't disagree to a degree. But then what if I told you that my past was 700?
I'd have to have some questions.
But there you go. So it's not just everyone's got a past. There comes a time where there must be a number where people go,
Sure.
okay, that's too many,
That's ridiculous.
or I wonder why you did that. And I think it comes down to the fact that number doesn't matter specifically, but I guess for some people, like let's say you're a religious conservative person and you want someone who's no sex before marriage, I guess the number matters because you want to, or if you're someone who's like struggled having partners like commit in the past and then you find someone who's got a huge body count number, perhaps you'd go, oh, I don't know, maybe, they must not have been in relationships for that long if they've got this bigger number. So maybe they're not really, the committing type. So should I waste my time getting with this person who's not going to commit to me?
Maybe you're the exception and they're wanting to commit to you. So that's the thing. It's
the
like
old exception.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, that exists in life, right? Like you've lived life up until one way and then all of a sudden you're not anymore because
Sure.
you're committing to someone and you're willing to do things that are different for them. So, yeah, I think unless you're, I don't know, 18 and you're both just being nosy and it might not last forever, I don't think you need to ask those questions.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my take.
I don't disagree with you, but I also just don't think it's your responsibility to like justify your actions of the past, like as you said, everyone, you go through stuff and just because you perhaps have done things in the past, I don't think that really, defines who you are and, people can change and, you make mistakes when you're younger and you're silly and you might not be thinking as much and, and shit happens, but yeah, I don't disagree. And for those wondering, Jad and I haven't had the chat ever.
Nope.
And, we've been together almost 8 years and married and a kid and obviously it doesn't matter. So
Yeah, because that's not going to affect our lives, especially now that we have a child. Like what? If you said 700, I'd start asking some questions.
if you said Drake, I'd start asking some questions.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you.
It's an interesting one to chat about, but I don't really think that bringing this sort of thing up with your partner, you're never going to like progress the relationship in a positive way. And I think that once you put those ideas in each other's head, I think that it's just going to play tricks on you. So if your partner says 10, you're probably going to want to dive into that and go, oh, who were they? When? And then, you're going to double guess yourself and you're going to go, oh, was that person, taller than me, more attractive than me? Did they do different things in the bedroom than me? I wonder if I'm doing what they like, It can never turn into a positive thing in my opinion. So I think you just, as an adult, you have to realize that if you're not dating a devout religious person who's saving themselves for marriage, that people are going to have a past and whatever that may be, if they're the person for you, you're going to sort of, forgive and forget the things that they've done in the past. So
Yeah, grow up.
Oh, yeah, great advice. Can't wait for your Ask Mum and Dad bits. Yeah. All right, guys, our Ask Mum and Dad today comes from a girl who's worried about a friend, which is actually quite sweet. And I'll have you know that when I got this message, I actually did reply to her, and she's actually replied to me since. So perhaps at the end I can share a little bit more from her. But it says, hey guys, I'm needing some advice from Mum and Dad. My best friend of almost a decade has been dating a guy for a year and a half who I really dislike. Other friends and family think the same of him too. He's obnoxious, selfish, and gaslights her. He gets angry easily, which has led me to concerns of it potentially developing into domestic abuse. She's recently expressed feelings of anxiousness, which is something she's never been before, as prior to dating him, she was known as such a confident, outgoing girl. In the beginning of her relationship, she would share the issues she's experiencing with him, and I would tell her his behavior wasn't acceptable. Now she doesn't share any issues she has with him, likely because she knows deep down it's not right, especially since I'm in a healthy relationship. Around 4 years ago, I told her my feelings about a previous boyfriend who had the same nature, and it led us to hardly speaking for a year. I don't know what to do because she deserves so much better. Yeah.
What advice did you give her?
Oh, you want to know what I told her?
Yeah, because that's really hard. I find that really difficult because she's already made it clear that she's kind of like clearly overstepped the boundary with this person, and then this person's no longer shared information with her, which often happens in these kind of relationships that might be kind of emotionally abusive, where someone's becoming more reserved because they're then like afraid to kind of have their friends and family be honest with them and face reality, basically. So what did you say?
I said, I think you've made the right choice in saying something, and now you have to let it play out, because I said people do need to learn for themselves and sometimes make mistakes in order to grow. I said, fingers crossed she comes to her senses soon. With age comes wisdom.
Oh, so she said something to her?
Yeah, she actually said...
Sorry, you missed that part.
Yeah, she said, thanks for replying. Bit of an update. I told her how I felt really gently by saying I'm not super supportive of the relationship. And she came back saying, I know he's not perfect like your boyfriend is, but he's changing and has changed a lot. And that there are things you don't know, like he's had a hard home life growing up. I think she's using these factors as an excuse for his behavior. I can't help but think she thinks she's changing him, but I think you can't really change a person, and as a partner, you shouldn't really have to.
No.
I wish she could just see that she truly deserves so much better, but what I've said has not made that happen in the slightest.
Yeah, I think, that's so tough, because what ends up happening in these situations is obviously the friendship starts being affected, you know, and then so do your relationships with like your family, because no one wants to hear of this kind of stuff that's happening all the time, and no one wants to necessarily be around someone who's constantly involved in conflict. Like that, unfortunately, that's just the reality. You know, no matter how much you love someone, it can become really draining to hear about the same drama consistently. Like I know from experience, I've had friends who've come in and out of the exact same scenario over and over and over and over, and I just turned into like a pillow basically to cry on constantly, and it was just too much, you know, and you've got to take a step back because it starts affecting your mental health as well. And no matter how much advice you give them, how many times you tell them like, hey, this isn't great for you, like maybe you need to take a step back, you know, they just don't listen sometimes. And unfortunately, it gets to a point where they kind of just need to come out of it themselves when they're ready to. And you just hope and pray that they will. Until then, I think the best thing that you can do is what you've done is kind of be honest, but let them know that you're there if they need you. And like, you know, I'm here. Give me a call when you're ready. You know, I'm always going to be here for you. I really value our friendship, and, you know, I'm here, basically. Just make that really obvious and really known, because it is important to know that you still have that support should something go astray, because it can be really isolating when you're in a relationship like that, and that's really heartbreaking. So I hope for her sake that she kind of comes to and finds her way out of it, but unfortunately, like, the isolation is just a part of the process with these things, and it is something that can happen very often. So yeah, it might be one of those situations where there's really actually nothing that you can do other than what you already have.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good advice. I like that from you. But yeah, I think, as I said, she's done the right thing in voicing her opinion, which I think would be incredibly tough to do, because I think we've spoken about this before in the past, and I think we've said that perhaps we wouldn't do that because it's such a tricky position to be in. So you obviously care a lot about your friend, which is, you know, absolutely lovely. But yeah, I think the main factor is you need to let her know that what Jad said, you're there if she needs, and then sort of let it play out, because obviously you know, as you said, you've tried and it hasn't worked. So I think, you know, berating her and telling her, yeah, your partner's really super shit and dodgy and this, that, it's probably not going to work, because, you know, he's probably manipulated her more so than you can. So unfortunately, you know, and you know, God forbid anything, you know, bad happens, obviously, but let's just say that you remind her here and there that you're there if she needs to chat to you, and that, you know, maybe I mean, this might be hard, but maybe you try and spend some more time with her, you know what I mean? And whether that's like, you know, taking her out and spending a bit more one-on-one time with her, or even inviting her around, you know, your other friends in relationships, and, you know, whether it's group dinners and stuff, so she can even perhaps see how, you know, other friends are treated in relationships, and that might, you know, spark a little light in her mind and remind her that perhaps what she's experiencing isn't the normal, and you know, that might make her wake up to things. But yeah, it is a tough thing that sometimes you do have to go through yourself, you know, and I'm sure everyone who's ever dated has probably gone through, you know, a toxic relationship or two whereby the partner, you know, is probably not the best for them, but you have to get through that, and you do learn on the other side of it, you know, and you see what you don't like in someone, and what you'll, you know, look out for in the future, and yeah, it's, you know, obviously, yeah, it's a tough situation to be in, but you've definitely done the right thing. It's a valiant and courageous thing which you've done, and I hope it doesn't tarnish your relationship with your friend too much, and she comes out on the other side okay, and she can find, or, you know, this guy turns an absolute page and becomes a beautiful person.
Yeah, well, does sound like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a hope. But yeah, I feel for you, and update us again. Always feel free. We love hearing success stories when these things, you know, go down and go take a turn for the better. So please reach out again. But yeah, if you did want any tips or advice from us guys, feel free to always write in with any stories or issues to madaboutyou@novapodcast.com.au. We, as always, appreciate having you. Your ears mean a lot to us.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And don't forget to leave a review.
We're going to keep using the 5-second rule.
Yeah, hopefully it works one day. Have a great week, guys.
See ya.